going on, Wolfman fans? Welcome back to another amazing Saturday. I say amazing with caution because it's actually pretty crappy out today. Don't know where you guys live, but where I'm at, it's gray, cold, kind of wet, and, winter is hanging on with bitter intensity as much as it can. So we're praying for springtime.
Yes, we are.
So, kind of a special episode today. My first guest on this show, my buddy Cody here, is going to, we're going to get in kind of a discussion today about something I don't think I've actually talked about before on my show, but glad to open up with, why don't you go and tell them what we're talking about?
All right, fans. So today we're actually going to talk about one of the critical points of the radical feminist movement of toxic masculinity. It is one of the most annoying points of their movement. And I could see in some aspects in comparison to certain eras of U.S. history why they would revert to this. But at the same time, given the way that our current social climate's at, I don't see where they're coming with toxic masculinity as it being an issue in our current climate.
I'll say definitely for one, the third wave neo-feminist movement is possibly one of my least favorite and possibly the one that gets on my nerves more than anything else. Don't get me wrong, the racism thing annoys the hell out of me because it's the biggest group of hypocrites I've ever seen, but when it comes to the radical feminism nowadays, it's completely bonkers. For lack of a better word, it is completely bonkers.
Absolutely.
Now, don't get me wrong. There is such a thing as toxic masculinity, but it's not what they make it out to be. In this case, you've got the guys that spend all day at the gym. Nothing against people who are up with their physical fitness. There's absolutely nothing against that.
GTL type guys, gym tan laundry, Jersey Shore boys. That's toxic masculinity.
That's toxic. The guys that use their masculinity in a manner that make us all look bad, womanizing and all that good stuff. It's unhealthy, and it just makes everybody look bad. It actually makes us some of us that are more on the moderate side of it. I kind of feel sorry for you that you really that's where your life is at. Oh, yeah. But masculinity in and of itself is actually, I think, something that we're kind of in short supply of. Like actual good masculinity, we're in very much short supply of.
I 100% agree with that. Especially, and don't get me wrong, I understand it's a style choice, but for one specific reason, men's jeans. Or men's pants, I should say, have been made the same way for 300 years. 300 years. Zippers have been added, buttons have been added to make things easier with putting on, taking off. However, they have been made generally the same way for the last 300 years. I don't know why you want your pants so tight it's constricting your genitals and taking away all that maneuverability and ability to breathe down there. Because I don't know if some people realize the tighter it gets down there, the less breathability you have. The less breathability you have, the more you stank.
I was gonna say I don't know if that's really a masculinity thing, but it is certainly something that's absolutely annoying, especially coming from a little bit of an older generation. I mean, we're not that old. Don't get me wrong.
No, in fact, he's older than I am.
Right,
by
but
far.
Still, the new style is ridiculous. But I will say this: there is kind of a trend going on. If you notice, like you said, like the tight jeans that are just the nut huggingest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Absolutely.
By the way, that is not good for your for anybody who's wanting to reproduce. That's not good for your sperm count. That's actually bad.
It's actually. It's actually medically proven if you're actually trying to increase sperm count, you need to actually be wearing things like size up jean shorts or gym shorts because there's a lot more maneuverability, especially with gym shorts. They're nylon with holes in them. They breathe better.
Yeah, there's more flexibility and more room And it sounds ridiculous, but it's actually true. Also, you get that. You've got the man buns. It almost would appear that men are becoming more feminine. It's odd, but it's true, and it goes along more with less more than just fashion. It goes along with life choices.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a time when it wasn't uncommon for a guy to know how to change a tire or do stuff like that. That was a common thing. That was every guy knew how to knew how to change a tire. Now,
Mechanics.
granted, we're just a couple of grease monkeys here. So, we can sit here and talk about, you don't know how to do jack on a car, but then again, we know more than most on that one, more than your average person does.
We're both experienced and educated in the matter, so.
Exactly, but that's not to say that a person shouldn't know how to be able to take care of their own vehicle. I'm not saying you have to know how to do a complete full tune-up on your own car, but at least know how to change a tire if you find yourself on the side of a road.
Especially somewhere where you have no cell reception.
Guys, if you don't know how to do that, I suggest you learn. That's just one of those cool little things about masculinity. We kind of know how to do things like that. Although I do think that sometimes it gets overblown into things we're expected to know that we don't know.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm not Mr. Fix-It. I don't know how to fix everything, but
I
sure will try.
I don't know anything about HVAC, but I know people that but don't know a thing about cars.
I know duct tape. Duct tape works pretty good.
Exactly.
But part of that, though, part of masculinity, and this is something that we're losing, is it's that drive to know how to do those things. It's I don't know if you want to call it courage, but definitely a drive to know how to do that. Like,
I want to say it's more like a desire or a need for betterment.
Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
You want to better your life, you have to better your knowledge, you have to better your skills.
Absolutely. And oh man, I just had a brain fart. I don't know. Anyway, but I mean, it's like there's a lot of people who don't have any interest in getting their hands dirty. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to keep in mind somebody's got to get their hand dirty. And let's speak in the area of relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
And the area of relationships is a huge area of.
And I think this is actually where this actually stems the most from is social relationship versus the physical side of the everyday man.
Oh, definitely. I would agree with that. The everyday man, you can be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna do you.
Exactly, but in certain areas of relationships, there kind of needs to be a point where you as the man step up. Now, I want to go ahead and say that, by the way, we're not getting into the whole realm of transgender, anything like that, because that is a subject that has hundreds upon hundreds of different loopholes, and we would never actually get anywhere with that one. That's a whole nother,
and then on top of that
ball game.
And then on top of that, I mean, the thing with transgenderism and the LGBT community, LGBTQ community, excuse me.
There's more letters, but go ahead.
Right, more letters than we can count now. But, and it's not to say that we have problems with people within that community, and that's not what we're trying to get at here. What we're trying to get at here is that in a situation as in a typical, or what would be considered an atypical type of situation, kind of narrowing it down to your typical everyday heterosexual male. That is what the toxic that is what the toxic masculinity has actually come down to. It's referring to your everyday typical heterosexual male.
Yeah, actually, if you listen to a lot of the feminist talk nowadays, that's really 90% of what they're referring to. And I got to think that there's almost an ulterior motive to it. Why on earth would you not want males as children, boys, to be grown up and raised like boys? Why is that a bad thing? I mean, we're told we're not supposed to, going to the transgender argument, we're not supposed to gender our kids. We're supposed to make them make their life, let them make their own choices in life. Okay, well, what if a boy wants to play with toy guns, wants to play with G.I. Joes, and wants to go outside and pretend like he's a soldier or something? all of a sudden that's wrong because it promotes violence. Well, I'm sorry, this is a violent world we live in, and sometimes it requires people who are willing to do violence.
To be violent.
Yeah, to keep other people safe.
Exactly.
You know, I played with toy guns and stuff as a kid,
yeah.
and I grew up. I knew that what I wanted to be as a kid, what I wanted to grow up to do, is I wanted to be a soldier, and I didn't know fully what that meant at the time, but you know, my parents didn't, you know, make me afraid to do that, make me afraid to be a boy. They let me be a boy, and I feel like that I had a knowledge of who I wanted to be and where I wanted to go as I was growing up. You know, a lot of these kids coming up nowadays, they're told as boys that they can't act like boys. Is that not confusing a little bit?
That is extremely confusing.
To me, I mean, yeah, if they want to play with dolls, that's perfectly fine, but God forbid they want to play with a gun, with a toy gun.
A toy gun. We'll say
let's
that.
be clear.
Because in
Toy
this
gun.
house, gun, and in our own house, weapons of any type are kept away from kids.
Well, I mean, I have no kids, so I mean, I'm okay. But when I do have kids, or if my nieces and nephews are over, my guns are, you know, put away. They can't get to them. We're very safe about such things. But a kid that wants to play with a toy gun or pretend that a stick is a gun or whatever. I mean, you remember that story of that kid who got in trouble because he had, you know, eaten a Pop-Tart in the shape of a gun. And he got in trouble.
I actually did not hear that story.
Yeah, this was a story from it was a long time ago. This kid actually got, I don't remember what exactly his punishment was, but he was punished because he had bitten into this Pop-Tart and made it was kind of the shape of a gun, and I believe he was just messing around and he was, you know, bang with his friends. This kid was like, he was like 6.
Oh my.
And he got
Kids don't know what they do at 6. They don't know what they're
Just
doing.
leave it alone.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has no malintent at that point, but let boys be boys. There's a movement to stop people from even using that phrase, boys will be boys, because it promotes toxic masculinity. It promotes, get this one, rape culture, which, by the way, is not a real thing. I don't give a fuck who I offend. That is not a real thing.
And if you don't believe us, watch the episode on Steven Crowder at TCU.
Oh, yeah.
Right here in our home city of Fort Worth. Right here, Steven Crowder sat at TCU twice about rape culture and has proven it to be false to more than 1,000 students.
And I'll be honest with you guys, like, if you guys want to see a lot of really good arguments about this, I got to give it to Steven Crowder. He does do a lot of those. If you haven't seen him, the Change My Mind videos, he'll actually go to a campus or somewhere in public, and he will discuss openly these kind of different things, like kind of like I do, but in an open forum, and get other people's take on it. You see just how people's other ideas and just how willing people are to talk about it. Some people get irate for no reason. He wants to have a good discussion about it. In this case, though, masculinity, look, as I said, we're in short supply. We've got too many people now that are afraid, too many guys nowadays that are afraid to pick up a wrench. They're afraid to get their hands dirty. I'm sorry, you need to stop drinking your soy lattes.
Absolutely.
You guys got to go black coffee. Just get some caffeine in you and go to work. I don't care what kind of clothes you wear.
I know this looks like water, but boys, men, start drinking you some of this. This is some shine.
Put some hair on your chest.
Absolutely. Get some hair on your chest and make your balls grow.
I can only imagine the comments I'm going to get back on this video. And honestly, as I'm telling you guys, I don't care. I think we need more masculine men, guys. And by men, I don't mean, you know, a dude over there at the gym, he spends all day lifting weights, oiling himself up, and then go out to the clubs in a loud shirt hitting on women. Actually, we need less of those dudes. We need more guys that are willing to put themselves out in front between danger and their woman or their man, whatever. You do you. But, like, don't be afraid to be in between danger and whatever you're trying to protect. Don't be afraid to protect somebody. There's a lot of good words that go along with what masculinity should involve. One of my favorites is integrity.
Absolutely.
You know?
Have some pride in yourself and what you do, and don't do anything to diminish it.
I don't want to sound like that guy coming from the Army, but I mean, you look at the Army values, for those of you who don't know that they are.
Leadership.
Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. I don't think every one of those applies, but definitely a number of them. Integrity being one of them. Loyalty. Don't ever be afraid to stay loyal to something. Oh, my dog wants attention. Don't ever be afraid to be loyal and stand up for what you believe in. Even if what you believe in may not, it's against the norm. So there's a lot of you guys on the left that believe in something. Just go ahead, stand up for it, but don't be afraid to actually go, holy crap, you're right. That's a part of that honesty thing. Be honest with yourself and with others. If you're wrong, admit you're wrong. That's part of being a man. There's good things to masculinity. To all you crazy, whacked out feminists out there, I know you want men to be like either destroyed completely or just completely subservient to women, but I'm sorry, this world is not going to get anywhere running that way.
And there was actually a video I watched on that, not even 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It was actually a video. It was all over Facebook. Some of you, or maybe all of you, have probably seen it. If none of you have, sorry about you. You don't want to watch it. Trust me, don't watch it. It's not worth your time. But it was a woman, short cut hair, like bob cut or something, pink hair, whatever, was talking about how all men needed to be eradicated from the face of the world. All male babies should be killed. If you shown to have a male baby within your womb, it should be aborted. There's a problem with that. What are the 2 required things for reproduction in the human?
Usually a male and a female. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. Even if the male is technically not present, because we do have technology that allows for women to get pregnant without a male. But at the same time, where did that sperm, that semen, whatever you want to call it, where did it come from? It came from men.
There's actually a few women that actually tried to figure out that problem, as they call it, on how to get rid of men but still keep the ability to reproduce. And I'm sitting there going, really? That sounds kind of messed up. Just gonna say that's some dystopian future type.
Oh,
crap.
Absolutely.
And I don't agree with any of it. Look, I'm not saying that we don't need women either. Of course we do.
Absolutely.
Just the inverse of what I said earlier. We can't just get rid of all women.
No.
This world's not going to get anywhere that way either. We need both.
Yes, absolutely.
Men aren't the problem. Individual men may be the problem. You have bad people out there, guys, and that's on both sides. That's both sides of the aisle. You have bad women out there, bad men out there.
AOC being
Yeah. There's men out there who are rapists.
Yes.
But that's not all men. And
but
in
there
fact,
are women that are rapists as well.
Yeah, there are. I mean, you want to talk about the lack of reporting from women who've been raped. There's even a bigger lack of reporting from men who have been raped by women, or raped by other men.
Yes, that's also true.
That's a thing. But we understand that these individual men, most normal, actual men, hate these people. We all know that. We can all agree that they are bad, and you can't get rid of them by the snap of a finger. You can't make some legislation that'll get rid of all of them. Bad people are going to do bad things, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. No amount of awareness will make that stop. Bad people are going to do bad things. That's all there is to it. So, instead of accusing all men of rape culture or toxic masculinity, why don't you focus your anger on the individual dickheads that are causing these problems, and let men be men. Let boys be boys. If I want to go out and chop down a tree and chug some whiskey, that's my business. If I want to go to Starbucks and drink a soy mocha latte,
I don't know.
I'm not going to do it, but if I wanted to, that's my business, as long as I'm still willing to stand up for my beliefs and be ready to defend those beliefs.
And another thing that they're actually really touching on right now with this subject is, what we see as genuine masculinity, not the GTL fuckboys from Jersey, but true, real masculinity. Both of us raised by pretty conventional, everyday American parents. Want the best for us and all this. But what it comes down to, and you were raised by a single mother, were you not?
Not entirely.
Not entirely, but for the most part.
For the what I would call my formative years of like when I was going through puberty and coming up through like high school and stuff like that, yes.
See, and early in life, I was raised by a single mother. When I was 5, that's when my mom met my parents. But those first 5 years of life, I was raised by my mother, and I rarely ever saw my biological father. And even then, he was one of those GTL without the G fuckboys. Because I have many siblings. Not all of them are full-blooded. Trust me. Actually, none of them are at this point.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I've got 2 half-sisters, and I have an adopted sister. But it all comes down to how you're raised. So, number one thing that everyone seems to think is a common and just genuine way to raise a boy, a lot of it actually falls in masculinity, especially with courtesy to women, courtesy to the elderly. That's part of what we do. Opening the door. It's not just a masculine thing. It's something we're taught to do as a man because women should be before men. And that's the way I was raised.
In our lives, yes.
Especially in a relationship aspect. My wife. I open the door for my wife.
Now, I'm not going to say, the whole chivalrous thing, a lot of us fall short of that.
Yes. Everyday life. Chivalry does fall short. It's everyday life. It happens.
But, it's making the effort.
Yes.
And when I say, like, when we were talking about the way we were raised, a lot of the problems with a lot of masculinity today is the fault that we have a lot of kids coming up that had no father figure in their life. And when I mean father figure, not every influence is going to be a good
dad.
one. Not every influence is going to be a good
uncle,
one.
grandfather.
Right. Like not every influence, male influence is going to be a good one. There are going to be some bad ones, but I think we have a lot higher chance of raising some good men.
Oh, absolutely.
If we can at least keep the men in the life, that's why I hate the court procedures nowadays for divorces. I mean, divorces are going to happen. People are going to get divorced. There's going to be that custody thing.
Love is not always forever.
If there's something that needs to be changed, it's that. There's so many times that men actually, and my brother is a good example of this, doesn't get to see his own son. I mean, that's just how it is.
A kid without a father will grow up to resent that.
Yeah.
You had a kid that had a father and had a father up until the point of the divorce, where in the divorce proceedings it was decided that, sorry, you don't get to see your kid. And it's not to say that the person that the father is a bad father. Sometimes it's just the shitty luck of the fucking draw from an asshole judge.
Well, there's actually a lot of more cases of women that get the full custody.
Yes.
For whatever reason. And I'm not saying that women should never get custody. There's many cases where they should, but it should be more balanced than it is. Right now, it's almost cards are stacked against
men.
The father, the men in the relationship. And it's sad. It's sad to see. We have a really bad scenario of this generation is actually they're coming up right now. They're like the ones that are in college or in they're going towards college right now. That young, late teens, early 20s, that we went through a period where there's been a lot of single parent households and dudes being raised by women. Not to say that a woman can't raise a good man. My mother surely raised me and my brother right. But, that's not going to be everybody.
No.
And honestly, you guys need to let loose some of that testosterone every once in a while. Sometimes it helps to go, blow something up.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
that's
buy a firecracker from
that's-
your local store.
I was gonna say, let's
light
keep it
and
in
throw
perspective with that one. Let me
Right.
rephrase that. There's nothing wrong with going out and chopping a tree. Sometimes you have to do that. If
Let off some steam.
if the boy's testosterone and natural urges as a boy are suppressed, that's how you start getting the psychopaths, the sociopaths that do messed up shit. It's
And cause the issues that
exactly
that we're seeing today.
because they've been their natural tendencies as a male have been suppressed. So okay, yeah, let's not get rid of masculinity. Let's not not all masculinity is toxic masculinity.
No.
And I'm sorry, I've heard arguments that will say, oh, we're not saying all masculinity is toxic. Like, oh well, no, just the key parts of it.
Yes.
All the parts that involve a man being a man are toxic. And I hate to say this, guys, but when it comes to for the guys out there that are listening to this and trying to call me on my BS, I gotta ask: have you had a date in a while?
Are you married?
Are you married? Because at the end of the day, when a woman is actually looking for a relationship,
She's looking for a protector.
she's looking for a masculine individual. She's gonna look for the guy that
can get his shit done.
can get shit done and can take care of her, can help support the household, if not do it entirely himself, because some people want that.
Yeah.
But that's what it goes back to basic biology. Just like men, we're looking for a woman who is who's gonna produce for us, produce offspring and take care of our children. That's something we look for inherently. It just happens. Same with women. They look at the same thing with men. Men who are going to be a good father, who are going to be able to create kids,
Oh yeah.
and who are going to be able to raise them properly. That's basic biology, guys, it's been going on since the beginning
Thousands
of time,
of years.
and it will continue going on. No matter how much women out there want to cut your hair short, dye it some funky color, and scream "fuck men" at the top of your lungs, you're not going to get anywhere. Sorry.
Then again, we're both sitting here, long bearded, Viking style slick back, high top, and slick back all over. I mean,
Hey, the beard may go away after a while. I mean, not the full thing, just the length might be cut back a little
oh
bit.
man, it's
Yeah.
glorious.
See, that's another thing in relationships. Sometimes you have to
Give up.
you have to concede to your better half. That's just
Luckily,
how it is.
mine loves the length.
Yeah, mine gets annoyed by the length. She thinks it's too much. So, hey, look, I'm gonna keep it going for a little while longer, and then eventually I'll cut it back. I've been trying to get it long enough to where I could, braid it and
Well,
put
that's
the
what I'm gonna
rings
do.
on it. Go
'Cause-
full Viking style.
Oh, yeah.
But,
I mean, hence
masculinity.
the haircut. I mean, come on.
the haircut was I was just getting tired of messing with the fade. But
Oh yeah.
that's what everybody has said though. Every night at work, oh man, going full Viking, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Whatever works.
Well, actually, back
Hey, I
before
like
me
it.
and Ben met, God, what is that now? 2 years now?
Yeah, it's been a couple years.
Back before me and Ben met, mine was just like his, but longer. Mine was actually tailed. I could actually braid it if I wanted to, but I couldn't find a person who could do braids the way I
You
needed
gotta
it.
learn how to do it yourself, man. Blind, just
No. I mean
underwater basket weaving.
braid.
Oh, from the top.
The war braid.
Okay. Yeah, but this has been an interesting conversation, though. I mean, I don't know if we clearly made a point, and I don't know if we completely kept on topic the whole time, but
Right.
certainly this is something to think about, man. The whole argument of toxic masculinity. There is such a thing, but it's not what you think. It's we all know who the bad guys are. Let's point the bad
Exactly.
guys out and let's
call them on it.
yeah, call
That
them
way we can change the men who are the problem
yeah.
into the men that
Oh my God! One of the biggest issues is that, a lot of those men who are the problem end up being like role models, man.
yeah, and that's one of
a
the
huge
worst parts
issue.
about this is that they're calling radical feminists are calling men like us toxic masculine men. But the men that are actually the problem are the men who are seen as role models by our kids. And that's the biggest issue with those men. is that they're seen as role models because people are putting them on TV and letting them be seen by the world.
Yeah.
That is not the man that should be seen
and
by
I
the
know
world.
I make references back to this group all the time, but the whole Jersey Shore thing. Do you really want those dudes as the role models for your kids?
And it's the same thing with women and 16 and pregnant.
Oh yeah,
That is the worst show I've ever fucking seen.
You guys want to make a difference? Don't try to stop men from being men. Stop making stupid people famous.
Yes.
Stop putting people with messed up lives, or just
messed up ethics and morals.
Messed up ethics and morals. Quit putting them on TV like they're okay, I understand that. Oh, this is just entertainment. Yeah, but not everybody sees it that way. Some people see this is what makes them famous.
Yes.
Makes them rich. Like, honestly, like the Kardashians are like rich for no reason.
Yes.
I mean, I understand they got clothing lines and stuff out now, but they didn't have those in the beginning. They were just rich and famous.
Well, Old Man Rob is what made them famous.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Old Man Rob made them famous by representing OJ.
Yeah, that's true. But honestly, why wasn't he just the famous guy?
Right.
Why does
the whole family now the most famous family? They're actually considered the most famous and recognizable family in the world. Why is a group of almost all unintelligent people?
That's the real toxicity, people. That's the real toxicity. Let's keep making people who are like, honestly famous for fuck all. Let's keep making them famous.
Because that's how you get this.
I'm not trying to be famous doing this. I'm just trying to speak truth to people. Common sense, truth. Have an honest discussion. Let's be honest with each other, and let's talk about how it is. And once we get it out in the open about how it actually is, the truth of the matter, we can start to fix it.
Yes, absolutely.
And we don't have these problems.
Because the number one thing with a problem is you have to figure out how to fix it. That's what discussion is for.
What's that whole thing of the first step is admitting the problem?
The second step is figuring out how to fix it.
No, we are admitting the problem here. The problem is we keep pushing these asshats into into the spotlight for everybody to see, so that the people who are actually responsible. The most famous person that I like that is truly a responsible individual and a good what's the word I'm looking for? A good example of good masculinity. Mike Rowe.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys remember
that is one of the most masculine men on TV ever recorded.
Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe. I mean, I don't think that show's on TV anymore, but Mike Rowe himself still does a lot of stuff online. He still does podcasts and stuff. If you guys want a good example of what good masculinity looks like and a good role model looks like, go look at Mike Rowe. Damn good guy.
You know how that guy was actually found?
I don't know.
He was actually homeless as a construction worker.
Damn.
And just the way he looked, his voice, and the way he conducted himself is what got him on TV.
Professionalism.
He was a homeless man working construction. That's what got him on TV. Was his downright look, just his natural look, and the way he conducted himself as a man. That's what got him on TV. But before that, he was a homeless man. Working construction.
This is a word to any would-be stars out there who might bounce across my video one of these days. You don't have to act like a complete asshat. You don't have to act a fool to become famous. Just be yourself. And if
yourself is that, stay out of the limelight. No one wants to see you.
Honestly, and if yourself isn't good enough to be famous, then you don't need everybody's adoration. You need to be a good person for you, your family. That's all that you need. You don't need the world's approval.
Another person that I actually find, another star, and this is one of the only other few that I actually enjoy and actually say would probably fit a masculine, even despite what he has started, would still fit a masculine role. Hugh Jackman. The man has portrayed Wolverine. You know what he is also portrayed in? Broadway musicals.
Yeah.
And he still maintains a masculine way of life. Still works out on a daily basis, but he only works out to keep himself fit for what he does, which is acting.
Oh yeah. He's a good guy. There's a lot of famous people out there who are truly good examples of.
Matthew McConaughey from our home state.
Oh yeah, we love that man.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
There's like Keanu Reeves. We always love Keanu Reeves. He makes some great movies. Everybody loved The Matrix. But if you actually look into that man and
he's the most humble person
where
in the world.
he came from and who he is now and how he is personally, good example of this is a person. If you want a role model, that's a good role model. Great role model.
To this day, being as rich as he is, still takes the subway to work every day. Still takes the subway to get around. Takes public transportation. Doesn't take his own car. Doesn't buy the flashy cars just to drive him around and show him off.
Yeah, I think
the man takes the damn subway.
The house that he bought is only like, $60,000 or something.
He bought a really cheap house.
He bought a normal house. Didn't need anything great. Didn't need, and I think that's. I mean, honestly, that's
the man is probably actually one of the richest per capita movie stars in the world, just because he actually saves money. Does a lot for charity. Absolutely.
He's a great guy. Honestly, these are the role models you kids need to look up to, not these crazy people on reality TV, because it's not reality. It's people being stupid for money.
And even in his John Wick series.
Oh, I love that movie, by the way.
He's playing a professional hitman, so obviously something that we're not going to condone. But at the same time, even as a professional hitman, still chivalrous, still courteous, still exudes the atypical masculinity that men like us strive for every day. Men like us do every day.
Honestly, you want to know what a typical masculine man does in his daily life. He gets up in the morning, he gets dressed, he goes to work, he earns his paycheck, he
goes home and loves his wife.
Goes home and loves his wife. Or if he's single, just comes home, takes care of business around the house, whatever he needs to do. And he keeps doing that for the rest of his life. He gives of himself freely without asking in return. I would not care who it was. If you dropped by my house in the middle of the night needing help, I would help you. I don't care what time of night it is. Brew you a cup of coffee, give you my last cigarette. I'd probably want to drag off of it. That's all I'd ask. But
which, by the way,
it's true.
In my lowest point, going to school with this man right here, my father had died the week before. At my lowest point, no money in my pocket, no money in my account. This man gave me his last cigarette and a cup of coffee.
I did.
And a swig of whiskey and said, "It's going to be okay."
You don't ask.
That kind of lets you know what kind of man the man you're watching is.
I wish you hadn't said that, because now I'm embarrassed. But anyway, no, it's true, man. Real masculinity isn't.
It's taking care of those around you.
Isn't lifting weights. Isn't getting all the women. Isn't all that crap. That isn't real masculinity.
It's taking care of business and watching out for the ones you love.
Yeah, asking nothing in return, but willing to give everything of yourself.
Absolutely.
That's basically all it is. I think that's really the point of everything. That's not toxic. How is that toxic? That's the best thing ever.
That's what everyone in the world should strive to do. Take
your ideas of toxic masculinity and stick them right up your ass.
Absolutely.
That's all I've got. All right, guys. That's really all. I don't know how long this video's been going, because I'm not looking at a watch.
Neither am I.
But I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to tune in next week. Another video. By the way, the time frame in my postings might change now, because my day off schedule has changed. So this might go to Fridays instead of Saturdays. But you guys will still get your weekly video, get your weekly fix. That's all I got, man.
Y'all have a good night.
You guys take it easy. We'll see you in the next video. Stay awesome.